What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Nick Energy YouTube postgame show. Mill here with another one, and this one was a win. The Knicks took the win over the Brooklyn Nets today, 105-93 at MSG. The Knicks are back home after a long West Coast trip, but I would say it was a successful trip, 3-1. So they are back home, and it was an early morning game. I mean, not really morning. I guess you could say afternoon, 1 p.m. But the players were they had to be ready early in the morning. So it was also Kids Day at MSG, so a lot of kids showed up today, and yeah, we got the win. It was a hard fought win, especially in that fourth quarter there, because I mean the Nets were staying in it pretty much the entire game until that fourth quarter. We were playing better defense, and we were able to stop them a lot better than we did the past three quarters. And two huge performances today from Deuce McBride and Dante DiVincenzo, who we really, really needed to step up today, and they did, because Jalen Brunson was not having the best game. Not to go down on him too much, but he struggled a lot from the field today. Let's see, he was 7 for 24 from the field and 3 for 4 from the three-point line. So yeah, 75% from the three-point line. That's great, but 7 for 24, not so great. But he did end up with 17 points and 8 assists. So, can't go down on him too much because he still showed up. And I love the 8 assist part. Despite struggling from the field, he was sharing the ball, facilitating it. Knicks run New York. Exactly. Knicks run New York. I mean, we're 3-0 against the Nets this season. I don't know what else to say at this point. You guys have to understand that the Knicks run New York, not the Nets. I feel bad for Nets fans. Like, if any Nets fan wants to convert to a Knicks fan, I might allow it if you're in Brooklyn and you just felt like you had to be a Nets fan, but I'll allow it if you want to be a Knicks fan now. What's up, Brian? Salute to you. Brian said Knicks dub, good win, and Deuce played 48 minutes tonight. It's amazing. Yeah, I can't believe Deuce played the entire game and just put up the numbers that he did. I mean, he had 26 points. He was 6 for 12 from the three-point line. Absolutely insane. We're gonna get more into it, especially like his performance and how he's really developing as of late. But just wanted to recap the score and pretty much go through a few comments here. Brian said, I'm from Brooklyn, but the Knicks run New York. Yeah, the Knicks run New York. I respect you, Brian, because I'm sure that most people from Brooklyn choose to be Nets fans. So I definitely respect you a lot for choosing to be a Knicks fan. And I'm not going to go too down on the Nets because, look, they're like the little brother of the Knicks, and whatever. They're going through a rough patch this season. We just know we're on top and we're dominating them. It's funny because I believe Nick Claxton had a quote like last year or something, and he said, ever since he's never lost to the Knicks, basically. That's what he said. But ever since he said that quote, I believe that we've beaten him and the Nets 4 times since that quote came out. So he can't say that anymore. He honestly probably jinxed himself a little bit just by saying that. So Finest Bishop said, no, we don't. Brooklyn people are Knicks fans. Nets is for Jersey people. Yeah, I definitely, because it was the New Jersey Nets. But I do feel like still a lot of Brooklyn people are Nets fans. I mean, I personally know one person from Brooklyn, just one, who's a Nets fan. But you're right. Majority of it is probably also people from Jersey. It's interesting. Like, I wish they could take a survey just to figure out who are Brooklyn Nets fans? Who are they? Because somehow when the All-Star voting was taking place, Bridges had so many votes. Like, I don't even know where all those votes came from. A lot of people said it was from Phoenix, because he was on the Suns before, but that didn't make sense because they didn't even vote Devin Booker as much. So where were those votes coming from? Because I know not everyone in Brooklyn was voting that much, and maybe it was from Jersey. Maybe it was. Brian said, if the Knicks not in it and the Nets in the playoffs, I'm going got them. But the Knicks is still and will always be my team, and a lot of cats from Brooklyn too are Knicks fans. Yeah, Knicks run New York. Knicks all day. I wouldn't choose to be a Brooklyn Nets fan. I don't think I would ever choose that, even if I was born in Brooklyn. Knicks are New York's team. But getting back to the game, this was a really good game, honestly. It was really entertaining because of how both teams were in it, and it was a close game throughout the first three quarters, and then we kind of pulled away in that fourth quarter. But definitely entertaining, especially for the kids who showed up today. So they had a great game to watch. And I honestly thought this was going to be a tough game for us physically, just because the Knicks just came back from a 4-game road trip on the West Coast. And then the first game they come back to is a 1 p.m. game in New York. It's way too early. I thought that, they'd be tired, exhausted. But I mean, that kind of showed in their defense a little bit in this game, but we still pulled away and we got the win. So that's all that matters. But let's look at the box score a little bit over here. So I did say that DiVincenzo and McBride had huge performances today. McBride had 26 points. He had 3 assists, and he was 6 for 12 from the 3-point line. I believe that is his season high or his career high. I mean, it has to be. I'm assuming it's going to be his career high as well. Against Golden State, he also had 6 3-pointers, so it'll be really interesting to see if he could hit more than 6. I mean, 6 is a lot already, but 50% from the 3-point line tonight for him. His shot is just unbelievable. It looks so good, and his form is so pure. I mean, from last year to this year, he has made so much progress, and he's really emerging as a really consistent player for us, especially off the bench, someone who we need to score. And we need this because we know Bogdanovic and Burks have not been playing the best ever since they became a Knick. So we need someone else to step up, and that's exactly what he's doing. The past 3 games, he's averaging 22 points per game, and that includes the 26 game tonight and the 29 game against Golden State, and then an 11-point game in between. So we really need someone else to step up off the bench if Bogdanovic and Burks are not going to do it, because they're just straight up struggling. I know Burks had a pretty good game the last game, but still, it wasn't enough for us to get the win. And Bogdanovic has been, I don't even know what to say about Bogdanovic. He didn't play in the second half of the game, and honestly, he should just keep getting that treatment if he is not going to. I mean, his defense was awful for this game, just straight up awful. But then again, he was contributing nothing to the offensive side of the game. So that's an automatic sub out for me. If you're not contributing in any way, you're out of the game. And pretty much Tibbs felt the same way, because in the second half, he did not play him at all. He didn't play him at all. So I see him getting more of that type of treatment in the future if he continues to play really bad defense and just take bad shots, force turnovers. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Tibbs has given Fournier the Fournier treatment before, where he completely benched him. Would it suck if Bogdanovic ends up getting benched a lot? Yeah, that would suck, because we don't want a Fournier part 2. And we thought this trade was going to take us pretty far with how good Bogdanovic was on the Pistons. But if it has to be done, it has to be done, because it looks like McBride is more deserving of a spot in the playoff rotation over Bogdanovic right now, and Burks. Tim Savage edit said, "This is a sign Bridges needs to pull up to the Knicks, fully Nova Knicks." Yeah, he honestly should. He should just pack up his things in Brooklyn, head over to the Knicks. I mean, he can demand a trade at some point, because why would he want to stay in Brooklyn? Why would he want to stay there on the Nets? They're just going to keep losing. It's going to do something to his mentality. I mean, clearly it did something to Burks and Bogdanovic's mentality. The fact that they were on a losing team, who was the worst team at the time we traded them, I believe. So I don't want him to suffer through that. Come on over to the Knicks. We're a winning team. We're 1 game back of the 3rd seed. I mean, we have a very bright future ahead of us. Yeah, I didn't even really emphasize that, but we are 1 game officially back from the 3rd seed. And I know like it's a little tricky, just because yesterday Orlando passed us and they took our spot in the 4th seed, but we are tied with Orlando for the 4th seed, and we're 1 game back from the 3rd. It's really close. All those spots in the East are really close, from like 3rd to like sixth, I'd say sixth or seventh. So we really have to watch it the next few days and just keep winning because we don't want to fall back. We are fifth right now, but we don't want to fall back even further. We want to get back up to fourth and then actually chase that third seed, which I really do think we can do because the Cavs, I mean, they have, I would just say they have a tougher schedule than us. I believe they face Miami and then a few more teams that are over 500. Us, on the other hand, we face Detroit and teams that are below 500 for the next few games. So it's looking a lot good. It's looking a lot better for us. So I do think we can chase that third seed, and I would really love it. I would really love it. We would, I think about all the possibilities if none of our players got hurt this season, especially Julius Randle and OG Anunoby. I always think about if that didn't happen, we would definitely be. I would see us being a second seed. I know that's hard to say just because Bucks are there and Boston's right up front, but I would say that we could honestly be the second seed if injuries never happened. Not, I like not even the third. I think we would be the second. Brian said now we are tied with the Magic for fourth seed, but they have the tiebreaker. We got to continue to win and stay in our spot and avoid playing spot. Yeah, they do have the tiebreaker, so that really sucks on our part because it's important to win games against teams in the East like the Magic, and unfortunately we haven't been able to do that this season. I believe we're like 3-1 against them. The last time we played them, it was a win, luckily. So we are tied with them, but I do see us climbing back up, taking back our spot. We have to watch them, though. The Magic are honestly really underrated this season. We've lost to them like 3 times, so we have to watch out for them. AP said, I thought we were done for him when he was saying these crazy shots. Yeah. Brian said, I know McBride defense will keep him on the floor. I'm so worried about his offense come playoff time, but I agree Burks and especially Bogue have been playing bad. We got to play McBride big minutes. Yeah, I definitely think that McBride is going to be playing in that rotation for the playoffs. 100%. He played 48 minutes tonight. He's already one of Tibbs' favorites on this team, and he's the type of guy where if someone else is down, he is automatically in and he is playing. So I see him getting the big minutes over Bogdanovic and Burks every single day because he will always be an elite defender. He will always show up on the defensive end. And that's what you want to count on because you can't count on that for Bogdanovic. You can't really count on that for Burks. His defense is solid, but still, McBride is better. He is really a pest out there, and he's just always putting up pressure on the opposing teams, which I love to see. And again, like we're seeing him emerge more on the offensive end. He's taking a lot more shots this season, a lot more threes. Last season, he was shooting 29% from the three-point line. This season, he bumped it up to around 46, I believe, somewhere around there. So it's 45 plus this season. That's really insane. I definitely think he should be getting more minutes and he should be taking more shots. He's clearly really developed his shot and he's a better shooter this season. He's probably a better shooter than Bogdanovic so far as a Knick and Burks. Let's see. Finest Bishop said that third spot gonna play Miami or Indy. Yeah, so right now Indiana has the 6th seed, so we would play them if we were able to actually get the third spot. I am confident in an Indiana series. I'm pretty confident against Indiana. They've kind of fallen off, I would say, ever since like the play-in tournament when they were really competing in that tournament, and Tyrese Halliburton was kind of emerging as like an MVP player in the beginning of the season, towards the middle, but he's kind of fallen off just because I believe he was dealing with an injury during after All-Star break or before that, so he's fallen off and his points per game have decreased like tremendously. So I honestly would be pretty confident. I know they do have Pascal Siakam now, and they have other weapons as well, but I'm super confident in the Knicks too. We have weapons. Just hopefully those weapons are healthy for the playoffs. Miami, on the other hand, I don't know. Miami is such a tricky team in the playoffs because we all saw what they did last season. We all saw how they made it to the finals, coming up as like an eighth seed. So they're a scary team to face, honestly. But I think I would love a rematch. I would really love a rematch just to finally beat them. Send them home because it sucked the way we lost the way we lost in the playoffs last season. It didn't feel right, and I would love to send them home this time, especially if we do get back OG and Randall for that series. Like I would really love it to see. Buck's thoughts said, "We got some winnable games coming up. We should be good." Yeah, I have to take another look at the schedule, but I know we have Detroit coming up. I know we have the Spurs, and I'm going to look at it again so I can see who else. But yeah, there's a lot of winnable games there. A lot of teams that are pretty much below 500 that we should win. We should win, and we should be able to chase this third seed. AP said, "I still like the Knicks on the road, even in the playoffs." Yeah, we're a pretty good road team. I'm not sure of the exact win loss on the road, but we are a pretty good road team. I mean, we just came off of a 3-1 road trip on the West Coast, which is tough. Like playing on the road on the East Coast, that's one thing, but on the West Coast, it's really tough out there. So I am confident in us on the road as well. Tim Savage edits said, "I think we're 15-3 or something like that with OG in the lineup, and we're holding teams under 100. Thanks, OG, for transforming our defense, and hopefully you're healthy for the playoffs." Yeah, with OG, I think you're right. We're like 15-3, something really similar to that, if not that. And he has completely transformed our defense. I say that every time he's on the court, his defense is pretty much contagious. Everyone else somehow just wants to play the best defense ever. I mean, it's crazy that one guy can have an impact on the entire team defensively, and everyone else is stepping up as well. But he is also stepping up the most. He is helping out. And on every defensive possession, he's forcing turnovers. He's going to be defending the best player each night. Like, I mean, I can't emphasize enough what OG does for us on defense. And when we have him, we hold teams, like you said, to under 100. We hold them to very little points. So we really need him back. I mean, for the playoffs, I'm not stressing it too much right now because like we just played the Brooklyn Nets. It's not like we really needed him for this game. And for the few games coming up against teams below 500, we don't really need him for those games as well. I'm really just stressing that he comes back healthy for the playoffs. That's pretty much my huge concern. Let's see. What's up, Bob? Salute to you. Thank you for tuning in. It was a pretty good win today. Finest Bishop also said, "Got to see what McBride does come playoff time to make me a believer." Yeah, I agree. I know, we could praise McBride a lot, and we can also praise DiVincenzo, who had a huge game today. I mean, 31 points. It was a great performance by both of them, but we would love to see it in the playoffs as well, because I know last season during the postseason, we had a lot of players go missing between Quickly, Grimes. I mean, I'm talking specifically about the Heat series. Don't get me wrong, the Cavs series was great for us. I mean, everyone pretty much we dominated the Cavs. So when I say like in the playoffs, I'm talking about Miami Heat series. A lot of players went missing in that series, so it was pretty much just Brunson doing it by himself. So that's why we all want to see him get help this postseason. We want McBride to be doing what he's doing. We want DiVincenzo to be doing what he's doing as well. Step up if we need him to be, and hit some big shots. Let's see. AP said Dante or McBride must receive the most improved player award. Yeah, I don't think McBride is going to get it just because he definitely has improved. He's improved, but I was just looking at his game log and pretty much looking at like he's had a few good games, but not a lot of games that he's scored over 20, and he's definitely been better this season, but I don't think he would get it. Dante DiVincenzo, on the other hand, I think he has a better chance. He's been struggling a little bit as of recently, but he definitely has a good chance to get it. I mean, when we inserted him into the starting lineup, he pretty much blossomed, and he fits so well with that starting unit. and he's been great ever since. I know there's been some games where he struggles or he can't hit a three, but that, I would say a majority of the games we've seen so far, he's been able to play really well in. Let's see. Bob said Easy and McBride want the consistency more than growth right now. I agree. Yeah, 100% agree. We just want consistency because, we've seen a lot of players on the Knicks in the past not be consistent, and it's hurt us. It's hurt us. We've believed in players who couldn't be consistent for us. So what I want most from McBride and Donte DiVincenzo is to just be consistent. I'm not expecting either of them to be getting 30 every game, because this was a game where Brunson struggled, so they needed to do that. But on a night where Brunson is killing it and he's going for 30, I expect like 15 from McBride, or 10 to 15. I think that'd be great. Donte as well. I don't need them scoring 30 every game, but to hit the shots when we need them to is huge. Buck's thoughts said Halliburton's shot has been way off. Yeah, it really has. Like, I don't pay attention too much to the Pacers. I don't really watch their games much at all. But I've seen some stats from his games that he's barely getting to 20 points recently, and that's better for us. It's better for us because it's looking like if we do actually end up getting the third seed, we might face them in the playoffs. They're 6th right now. Miami's 7th. AP said, with Obi Toppin's game defense, I'm confident too. And to think Obi was cursing out Tibbs last year. Yeah, I do think he's definitely improved his defense this season. I've seen many plays where he's been able to get the stop due to his defense, but I would be confident in as well. Julius Randle would dominate Obi Toppin pretty much. He would dominate him. He would bully him. And Obi was cursing out Tibbs last year. Yeah, you heard that. The leaked audio went around, pretty much went viral. But there was a leaked audio when Obi was cursing Tibbs out, whatever. Let's see. Finest Bishop said, do you want to play Miami with the team on the floor right now? No telling if Randall or OG coming back. So no OG and no Randall. Do I want to play this Miami team? Personally, no, I would not. I was speaking about it earlier that the Miami Heat are a tricky team. We saw what they did in the playoffs last season. They made it all the way to the finals, and I just think they're scary because like Jimmy Butler pretty much turns it on the postseason, and they're also a very, very physical, aggressive team. They're very physical. I mean, we know that firsthand. We've had multiple players injured from the Miami Heat. Right before the season ended last season, Randall got injured, and was it from them? It might have been from them. I believe it was from them. But also during that series in the playoffs, so many of our guys were getting like hurt left and right. I mean, Grimes, I remember that play. Grimes got hurt with his, I believe it was either he bumped knees or his ankle. Like Bam Adebayo steps on everyone's ankle, so that's one thing right there. I'm not trying to like play them the first round and have 3 of our guys get injured from that series. So I would prefer not to without Randall and OG. Loyal Heat fan said Donte randomly just pops off. Yeah, I don't want to say randomly because I feel like he's been pretty consistent. Like if he's not scoring 30, if he's not scoring 25, I think usually he's at least putting up like 10 to 15 points per game, which I think's fine. If Brunson's going off and everyone else is doing their thing, I think it's fine if he does that as well. AP said Jalen Brunson is a heartbreaker player who has the dagger. Yeah, he's been playing phenomenal. I mean, obviously today he struggled and he didn't play that great from at least shooting wise because he still put up 8 assists and I still think he played pretty good defense, but he's been playing phenomenal this season. I think he's averaging 27 this season as well. So MVP candidate, honestly. I don't know if he's in that conversation yet, if people have officially put him in there, but he should be because he's been leading this Knicks team for a while now by himself. Ever since Randall went down, ever since OG's been out, and OG only came back for like a few games, so it's pretty much been Brunson leading the pack, and he's been doing the best he could. He's been doing a great job. I mean, he had recently back-to-back 40-point games. That was insane right there. AP also said you got to admit this game was looking kind of shaky early. They weren't missing anything. Yeah, they weren't, and our defense was pretty poor in the beginning, especially that first half of the game. I wasn't too concerned though. I don't know why. I mean, even though we did go down at one point by like 5 points, 6 points, I wasn't concerned because I just have so much confidence in this Knicks team that I know we're eventually going to come back, even if we're down by like 5 points. And it's the Nets. Come on, it's the Nets where I know even if they're playing a really good first quarter or a really good second quarter, I know that at some point in the game, they're not going to be doing that and they're going to just fall apart. And that's pretty much what happened in the fourth quarter. I mean, I have to pull up the stats here from that fourth quarter. The Knicks, the defense once again showed up. I tweeted it that they brought out the metal bats. And yeah, so in the fourth quarter, they forced the Nets to go three for 10 from the field, 2 for 9 from the 3-point line. They forced 4 turnovers and 3 block shots. So it was a fourth quarter of doom for the Nets with the way the Knicks were playing defense. The Nets couldn't make anything. I mean, they were 2 for 9 from the 3-point line, only made 3 field goals, and 3 block shots. Like that's crazy defense by us there, and it was much needed because I didn't want this game to go, I didn't want it to be too close with a few minutes left to go down the stretch. I wanted us to pull away at some point, and that's exactly what we did in that fourth quarter. We pulled away. I believe we got, we managed to get like that 10-point lead, and then it was it. It was over after that, and we won the game by 12 points. Stevie said, "Someone check on Nick Claxton." I know. I was mentioning it earlier how he had that funny quote where he said, back like last year, he said he had never lost to the Knicks since he's been in the NBA or something. And then ever since he said that, I believe he's lost to the Knicks 4 straight times. So he pretty much just like ruined his own destiny and his faith right there. I mean, you shouldn't say stuff like that because look what happened now. We beat him 4 times in a row. Someone better check on him. Bob said Dante has still been good on defense, creating turnovers, and also scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, very underrated part of Dante's game playing style is obviously his defense. I mean, he's a really good defender. He's doing really, really well at forcing turnovers and grabbing steals. He had 2 steals tonight. That's one part of his game that I really love to see because even if he's not able to necessarily put up 30 a game or hit like 5 3-pointers, you can always count on him to be there on the defensive side of the ball, and that also goes for McBride. If he's not having a hot game where he is shooting 6 3-pointers like he did tonight, you can always depend on him to be a really great defender. And Stevie Bucket said, Miami winning the East, still don't let the standings fool you. Yeah, I said it before. Miami is scary in the playoffs, but I would also love a rematch if that happens so we can actually put them away and actually send them home this time because when we lost to them last year, I was devastated. I honestly really, really thought we could somehow force a game 7 and then somehow win that series, but obviously that didn't happen. Travel vibes, salute, peace family, sup Mills. What's up, Travel? If you're able to catch the game today, let me know your thoughts. I mean, we've pretty much been talking about it this entire live stream. It's a really good win. I was a little scared heading into this game because, I mean, the Knicks had just come back on a West Coast road trip with 4 games. And this was a really early game for them, I would say, because, it started at 1 p.m., but I'm sure the players were there at like 9 a.m. So I thought they were going to be tired and exhausted. But, I mean, they proved me wrong. They played hard today, and they got the win. What's up, Nahima? Thank you for tuning in. AP said TH. He thought he was the next Reggie Miller to us. TH. Oh, are you talking about Tim Hardaway from Miami? I see the comments here now. And he said Miami was lucky last year. Every player each series had an injury except for Denver. Yeah, a lot of teams were going through injuries, and especially our team. Let's see. A few more comments. Tim Savage edits said, I heard that Julius Randle is pushing the Knicks to let him play regardless of his injury. I don't think the Knicks will, but what's your thoughts on it? He might not play well. So I don't think I've heard that report yet that he's pushing the Knicks to let him play. There hasn't really been an official update on his condition right now, like on how he's progressing so far. He's not cleared for contact though, so that's one thing. He hasn't been, or that's what I saw. I have to double check that. Maybe I know he's probably been doing light contact, but real contact, I don't think he's been doing that yet. Or what are my thoughts on him pushing to play? I don't think he should, honestly. I don't think he should until the playoffs if he's like not 100% yet. I mean, he's not going to be 100%. I was speaking on this with someone else the other day. Like, he's not going to be 100% this season or in the playoffs. He's probably going to be like 70 to 80 because it's most likely that he does need surgery. He's probably going to get it in the offseason. So he's not going to be 100% regardless. But I don't think he should force anything right now, considering that we pretty much have an easy schedule for the next week or two. We're playing some teams below 500, so he doesn't really need to force coming back right now. It's not necessary. But I would ultimately like to have him back at least 5 games before the regular season ends. At least 5 games to get into rhythm, because it is a little scary to see a Julius Randle come back from injury in the very first playoff game. That's a little scary because we don't know how he's going to be. And I wonder if he'd also be on a minutes restriction. So I don't think he should force him right now. Maybe like 5 games left in the season. I think the Knicks organization and him, they should try to make a push there, get him back into some rhythm at least before the playoffs start. Before I start, I have to get to a super sticker or super chat by John Candy. Thank you, John Candy, for the super sticker. And there's another one right here. John said, word around is Randle will not return this season. Oof. I really think he needs to come back at least 5 games, at least a few, because beginning of this season, okay, let's say last summer he had surgery. He was dealing with an injury, he had surgery, and then the beginning of this season, he struggled tremendously shooting wise. Those were one of the worst percentages of his career, and that was him coming back from an injury. So if he does not come back this season and his first game back is the first playoff game for us, I don't have much confidence in that right there. I don't have a lot of hope that he will be back and he will be playing well, because we've seen him come back from injury before and it wasn't great. So, and second time around, he comes back, and especially it's a playoff game where they're going to be playing on a whole different level, super duper hard. I don't have a lot of confidence in that. I mean, John, I hope the word is not true, because I would like to have him back. We see him warm up before the games. We've seen him shooting around. I don't think he's taking heavy contact right now. He hasn't been cleared for that. Let's go back up to these comments over here. Where was I at? Let's see. Bob said, still surprised before today's game. They said Brunson was 5th in points per game. Yeah, there's a few people ahead of him. I mean, obviously, SGA, I think Luka is ahead of him. Yeah, a few people are. But even though he's 5th, like that's still just unbelievable. And crazy. I mean, I truly wonder. I have to say, like the last time a Knicks player has led points per game in the NBA was probably Melo. I believe he had like the scoring title. What was it? 2013. He was averaging like 28 per game, maybe 29. So I mean, Brunson's doing 27, but it only has him as at fifth, not first or second or third. Let's see. Trying to keep track of these comments. There's a lot coming in. AP said Heat play dirty. That goes back to 97 with Charlie Ward. Yeah, I I do think the Heat are a little. They do play a little bit dirty. I don't want any Heat fan to go on me for saying that, but we've seen it firsthand last season. We saw it firsthand, pretty much. And you said it in '97 with Charlie Ward. Like, there's so much history with the Knicks in the '90s with the Miami Heat. You probably know all about it. I mean, I didn't get to witness that live, but I've seen so many highlights. Crazy rivalry back then. Let's see. And Stevie said, as a kid, I was watching balls so I hated watching balls so early, but as an adult, I love it. Puts me in a good mood. Yeah, I think I was the same way. I think that it like I mean, this wasn't even that early of a game. It was at 1 p.m. There have been earlier games before, but yeah, definitely like it more as an adult, especially on a Saturday where it's like raining out, you have nothing to do. It's nice to watch that early. Finance Bishop said they've been silent on those updates makes me worried. It does make me worried too, but I think that the Knicks organization, they like to keep a lot of information within before they're ready to come out with it. I mean, we didn't even know OG was hurt and had surgery before they announced that. I mean, all we thought was that he had a sore elbow and he was just out, but they kept that within. And there's been a few other things. So I would like another update on Randall. They haven't given one really recently. They did give an update. I believe they gave an update on Mitchell Robinson. I have to double check on what that was. I think it was that he can participate in team practices. So I'll double check on that. But there was an update on Robinson. AP said, I don't think the Knicks are revealing anything about Randall. He's going to pull off a Willis Reed. Get this team fired up. Yeah, honestly, I think that if they are keeping it in the dark and it's for good reasons that he's making a lot of progress and he's going to be coming back soon, I'm all for that. I'm all for him coming back and just getting ready and you know staying ready for that reason. And Finest also said we have OKC March 31st, not all easy. Yeah, OKC is going to be really tough. I mean, I believe they're fighting for the first seed in the West. I'm not sure if they got it yet, but last time I checked, they were fighting for it. So OKC is going to be a battle. Literally, they have probably the number one MVP candidate, SGA, who's been crazy this season. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't take the win because they're a really good team this season. Finest said, any word on Mitch? Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to look it up because I did see the tweet recently that good news came back. Let's see. He was cleared for something, so I'm just trying to find out what that was. I believe it was team practices. Yeah, so Mitchell Robinson returns to practice. Yeah, so he's back to practicing with the team. And that is really good news. That is really good news. Because we didn't really know where Robinson stood at all. Pretty much because we were also in the dark about that. I mean, even when they first announced Robinson's injury, we thought he was done for the season. They said it was a season-ending injury. He wouldn't be back. I don't know if he'll make it back before the season ends, but I definitely think we'll have him for the playoffs. Tim Savage said, if OG and Randall don't come back, I'm sad to say, but we might be second to first round exits. So, you mean they don't come back at all? Like, they don't come back for the playoffs? I think if they don't come back for the playoffs, which I think is unlikely, I I think one of them at least comes back for the playoffs. But if neither of them were to come back, are we a first round exit? Depends on who we're playing. I mean, right now we're the 5th seed. We're trying to chase the 3rd seed. We're tied for the 4th. It really depends on who we're playing. I think we can take a lot of teams in the East, even without Randall, possibly OG. OG is someone like I feel we really, really need for defensive purposes. But, you might be right. You might be right. We might not be able to get past the second round without those two. Kev Lowe said, remember all that Brooklyn Nets talk, and now they look like they will very bondage to the Knicks. We will put our foot on them, Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. There's no reason for any Brooklyn Nets fan to be talking all of that because we've dominated them this season. We're 3-0. They have no room to talk. They can talk next year if we lose a game to them, but I mean, actually, we do play them one more time, April 12th, but still, we're gonna win that one as well. Let's see. There's also gonna highlight go New York, go New York, go. Pretty much, Knicks run New York. AP said it's going to be Denver and New York NBA Finals. Knicks are going to shock the NBA world. 6th Avenue parade coming. I really hope you're right. I really hope so. I definitely think Denver is going to get up there again in the finals. But the Knicks, it really all depends on if we are able to get back Julius Randle, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson. It really depends on if we can get back our weapons because, like someone mentioned it before, literally just now, without those guys in the playoffs, we're probably a second round exit. It would be super tough. Let's see. Oh, but someone else agrees. Knicks versus Nuggets NBA Finals. It's going down. It'd be a crazy matchup just because Nuggets are so good. They're so good. I mean, we recently played them. We recently did on the West Coast trip. We did lose, but I'd say we stayed within it for a large majority of the game, and we played pretty well. I mean, just in that 4th quarter, we were undersized, first of all, that entire game. We got out rebounded, and they have another MVP candidate, Joker. So he is pretty much unstoppable at times. Hartenstein tried his best, but he's pretty much unstoppable. Stevie said Nets below 500 with no draft picks again. That's wild. I don't like that's so sad for them because no draft picks. Wow. Man, I don't know how Brooklyn Nets fans are doing right now. Someone check up on your Brooklyn Nets. If you all have any friends that are Brooklyn Nets fans, check up on them. Tell them they could root for the Knicks. And Kev also said Brooklyn Nets the biggest gimmick in the NBA. Yeah, I don't know why we have so much hatred towards the Nets. I feel it too. Like I definitely have that hatred, and it's because there's so much. There's so like Nets fans love to talk, and they'll say how like KD and Kyrie didn't go to the Knicks, but they went to us. That wasn't even a good thing though. You guys did not win anything with KD and Kyrie, so what was the point? Like, okay, they didn't come to the Knicks, but whatever. They didn't win with you guys. Y'all had like 2 fake super teams and didn't win anything. Like with the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Darren Williams, that's first fake super team. And then the KD one with Kyrie, James Harden. Y'all didn't get anywhere. And Stevie said the irony of Nets moving to Brooklyn when they don't give an F about them. Bring back New Jersey Nets. They should. They should go back to New Jersey. I don't know. Why did they move them to Brooklyn? New Jersey should probably just get back a team because I was saying earlier that I think like a lot of Brooklyn people root for the Nets, but I honestly might say it's split. It's probably split that it's like half people from there like the Knicks and half maybe are interested in the Nets. Maybe they got a Brooklyn Nets hat trying to rep Brooklyn, but still Knicks fans. Salute to still Knicks fans. Thank you for coming in and tuning in. They said, "What's good, Knicks family?" Salute to the chat. Salute to my homie Mill. I have not caught you on the podcast until now. It's good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I usually do the post game shows after the games. I try to be as consistent with it as possible. I do miss a few, but since today's game was an early game, I decided to do it midday. I'm glad you're able to catch this one. I will be wrapping up soon though, coming up on 50 minutes live now. Just reading some comments here, honestly. CV said they moved them because most of their fan base traveled from New York and it was a hassle. Thus why their attendance was always trash. Wow. So wait, so when the Nets were New Jersey Nets, like they had a lot of New York fans? That's strange. I mean, obviously like I wasn't really I was very little when they were the Nets, New Jersey Nets. So I don't know much about their history there, but that is strange if a lot of New Yorkers are traveling there to root for the Nets. AP said, Mill, how long have you been a Knicks fan? Pretty much since I was like 8 or 9 years old, and that was like around 2012, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. So yeah, haven't been a Knicks fan very long just because I'm pretty young, but I know a lot about the history for the Knicks. And CB said again, very ironic because Barclays filled with Knicks fans. Yeah, the last time we played the Nets at Barclays, I remember there were so many Knicks fans so that I don't think like when the Knicks would score, they would chant for them. And when the Nets would score, it would be like probably silent, which is insane to think about that happening at your own home court. I remember Bridges commented about it, and like if I was him, I wouldn't even know what to do. Like you're at your own arena and your fans aren't even cheering for you. That's a problem with having Barclays there, is that Knicks will always run New York. They will always show up there, because obviously tickets are going to be less expensive there than they are at MSG. So Knicks fans are going to show out there. Travel Vibe said, I've been a Knicks fan since 91. That's what's up. That's great, honestly. I mean, if you got to see the 90s Knicks, that was something different. I honestly wish I did. I really wish I was alive in that decade, the 90s, and I got to see it. My dad always tells me about it, but it was a special time. Let's see if there's. I mean, I spoke about McBride and DiVincenzo. Oh, my screen is frozen. Hold up. Trying to pull up the stats of the game, but my screen froze for a second, so I'll just highlight some comments. AP said if the Nets change the name to NYC Nets, that probably would help their fan base because then they will have a bigger connection with the city instead of just Brooklyn. I would hate if they did that. I would literally hate if they did NYC Nets because it's New York Knicks. I know it's in football we have it. We have New York Giants and we have New York Jets, but the Knicks should be the team of New York. Let's find a way to kick the Nets out because hopefully they never do that. Okay, it's loading up. It's finally reloading here. So looking at the box score, Hartenstein had another really great game. I mean, against Denver, he had 20 points, which was his career high. Today, I keep saying tonight because I'm so used to doing these post games at night, but it's literally it's only 7 o'clock. So he had 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. I mean, Hartenstein has been looking really, really great these past few games. The Denver one tonight. He looks healthy. Like I would say he looks fully healthy out there. The way he's been playing and stepping up, not just on the offense. I mean, not just on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. Getting 17 points. That's unexpected. I don't think a lot of us expect Hartenstein to be grabbing that many points. We're not really used to any our centers grabbing that many points, but he did, and it's nice to see, honestly. I said it before. Brunson had he struggled this game, shooting wise. He was 7 for 24 from the field. Josh Hart, he didn't have a double double. He had 6 points. He did grab 13 rebounds though, so not a double double, but 13 boards. He always does that. We know Josh Hart by now. That's what he does. He did struggle as well from the field and from the 3-point line. He missed 3 3-pointers. DiVincenzo, I mean, this was DiVincenzo's game. 31 points, and he was lighting it up there in that fourth quarter. He's pretty much why we were able to pull away from the Nets. It was close the entire game, and then we pulled away from them. We started playing defense. We pulled away and scored. He was a part of that run that we did. I believe he had his own little run. He had a layup. He had a 3-pointer. So he was a huge part of the win tonight. Looking at the bench, Precious didn't score. He only played 7 minutes. Bogdanovich in 7 minutes scored 3 points. And Burks in 15 minutes only scored 5 points. Sims didn't score at all. So yeah, Bogdanovich did not play the second half of this game, and I think that was the right move to make because from the get-go, he was getting beat on defense. He was not making the best shots, so we needed to bench him in that second half. 1 second. Okay, we're back. Who was I just speaking about? I believe it was Bogdanovich and Burks. Yeah. Honestly, I'm thinking that for the playoffs, you know how Tibbs runs a 9-man rotation. I think that they're not going to be part of it. It's going to be, the starters, the usual starters: Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG, Randall, and Hardenstein, and then we got 4 more spots. So I'm thinking Deuce, obviously, Precious, possibly, Mitchell Robinson, and then that gives you 1 more spot. So who gets that last spot? Is it Alec Burks? Is it Bogdanovich? No, it's Josh Hart. Oops, I forgot about Josh Hart. So yeah, Josh Hart gets that last spot because he won't be coming off. He won't be starting anymore. He'll be coming off the bench. So coming off the bench for the four players off the bench, it would be Josh Hart, Precious, Deuce, and I don't see Bogdanovich and Burks getting their spot there unless they are able to step it up because they have not been playing great recently. We did see a good game from Alec Burks against Denver, but it just ultimately wasn't enough. We still need him to be consistent, and he had 5 points tonight in 15 minutes. He was 2 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. So that's still not great. We need him to be better. I had a lot of confidence in Bogdanovic coming here, and he's really let me down. Let's see. Bodega Mayor said, "Your IG brought me here. You're so dope." I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Awesome that you came here from Instagram. If you can kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not, I would appreciate that. We're about to hit to 2,500 subscribers, maybe in a few days or so. So that'll be a huge milestone, honestly. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much went through everyone on the box score. Let's look at the Knicks schedule coming up. I know the next game I believe we play is the Detroit Pistons. But I'm going to check here the next few. So Monday, we play the Pistons. Let's see if this is a home game. Yep, it's a home game. And then Friday, wait, what? Oh, okay, Wednesday, we play the Raptors. And that is also a home game. So we have a little nice homestand right here. I mean, are the Spurs? Oh no, the Spurs game is not at home. So we have a 3-game homestand, including tonight. We then play the Pistons on Monday, and then we play the Raptors. I don't think RJ Barrett. I don't think RJ Barrett is going to play. If you guys don't know, he's dealing with a death in his family, and I think he's been out. I think he's been out the last few games. And also, Emmanuel Quickley is dealing with a death in his family, so he missed his last game. I mean, my prayers go out to them. I know they're not Knicks anymore, but it's hard dealing with that type of stuff, and life comes first. So if we do play them on Wednesday, we are going to play them, but I think we take a win against them on Wednesday. I think we take a win against the Pistons. Pistons could be a trap game, honestly, but I see us getting 2 more wins and against the Spurs as well, so that's 3. And we do play the Thunder after the Spurs on the 31st of March, so that's going to be a tough game. And then as well, after that, we play the Heat. So let's just work on the next few games and take the next 3 dubs. I think it's very winnable. The Pistons, one of the worst teams in the league. The Raptors, especially if they're missing RJ and Quickley, should be an easy win. And the Spurs as well. I remember the first time Wemby came to the Garden, he did not have a great performance. He struggled. He definitely struggled. I don't know if that'll be the same case because it's the first time we played him. I felt like it was very early on in the season, but now we're in March, late March, so he's improved. I still think we can get a win though. D'Angelo said, "Great job. I'm a new subscriber." I appreciate that. Thank you, D'Angelo. We're very close to hitting 2,500 subs, so I appreciate every subscriber we can get. Kev said, "Pistons won them games where I feel we fall asleep and we win last minutes." Yeah. Did we? Oh, the last time we played them, we won against them. That was the first time that we played the Pistons since the trade. So, we saw Grimes, we saw Fournier. We won that game, right? I believe we won. I'm just getting confused because I remember it was really close in the end. I remember Grimes had a tough shot. He hit that, and I was like, man, Grimes, what are you doing? Like, now you're clutch all of a sudden? But I knew it was a close one. AP said, "I hope we can get Mitch in time for Wemby." So we played the Spurs March 29th, which is in 6 days. I don't think we'll be able to get Mitch back for that, unfortunately. I know Mitch has been it's been announced that he's now practicing with the team. He's now participating in practices, but I don't think he's close to getting on the court yet and putting back on the Knicks uniform. Kev said, yeah, we won last minute. Yeah, it was, that game felt like a trap game as well. And it was super close towards the end there. Travel Vibe said, we barely beat the Pistons. Refs bail us out on that Dante no foul call. Oh, yeah. It was that game. Now I remember that play, that there was no call. You know, that was justice right there. That was justice that we got, because remember the Houston Rockets game, how JB was going in to defend the three and they called that? That was such an awful call. I mean, technically, like, it looked like he did make contact, but you don't call that. I didn't like that, but the no call against Detroit was justice for that happening. Kev said, APG is awesome. Appreciate you guys in the comments. And Kev also said, will you buy tickets to that Brooklyn Nets versus Knicks game on April 11th, 12th, I think it is, or 11th? The one in April. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I don't have any tickets for the rest of the season right now. I'm honestly trying to save up my money for the playoffs, because we are going to the playoffs. So I have to save up, because playoff tickets at MSG are no joke. Absolutely no joke. So I'm really just saving up my money right now for that. Without further ado, I think I'm going to begin to close up, because I've been live for more than an hour now. And we pretty much went over everything. I mean, we've talked about the game itself. It was a really good game, really good bounce back win too from Denver. And we're back home for the next few days. We play Detroit on Monday, then we play the Raptors on Wednesday at home. So it's nice to be at home for the next few. And it's looking good for us right now, because we're one game back of the third seed. We're tied for fourth. If we keep winning games, if the Cavs keep losing, then we are going to get that third seed. I believe we can do it. But thank you for everyone for tuning in. Those of you that commented, I appreciate it. I always appreciate every comment that I get. You know, even if it's to criticize something that I've said, I'll still appreciate the comments. I mean, it shows that you're tuning in and that you're listening, and that we can talk Knicks. So thank you. And before I fully close up, I have to mention the merch shop. If you guys don't know, we do sell merch as well. Head over to bignickenergy.com to check out all the merch. The site recently got revamped. There's a few changes now, and it's looking really great. You guys can check it out. And thank you again. I mean, hopefully everyone has a good day. The rest of your day is good. With this next win, everyone should be happy. But peace, everyone.